Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Los Angeles Rams Insider Podcast. I'm your host and beat writer, Brock Biera. You can check out all of our work at www.si.com/NFL Rams/on SI, where we drop double digit pieces of content every single day for you, the fans. Now, the big story regarding the Rams, of course, is Matthew Stafford's MVP victory here on Thursday night, and of course, what he said in his subsequent speech, of course, confirming that he will be back for the Rams next season. So let's dive into that, what it means for this team and what it means for the Rams moving forward. So, of course, this award, which is rightfully deserved, was an award that came down to one singular vote that separated both Stafford from Drake May. It came down to one guy essentially voting for Justin Herbert. Um, I was shocked that it was as close as it was. When you look at the overall body of work, you look at the statistics, and you look at the competition level, it should have been Matthew Stafford's award from the get go. It's not so much that the narrative of Drake May doing well against bad teams, more so Matthew Stafford doing better against way better competition. You got to think about it. He went against the top defenses in the NFL. He played the number one scoring defense was what, Houston Texans. He played them week one. He played Seattle on three different occasions in which he was highly successful. And in the one game that they won, that was probably his least successful outing. Obviously, even though it doesn't go into the equation, you saw what happened in the NFC Championship game against Seattle in that environment. And again, when you look at the overall body of work, I know there's this narrative about the 1 yard touchdown, but if you actually look at it, it's the hardest touchdown to throw because the amount of space that you have to place a football is so small. And let's not forget the fact the Rams in the red zone over the past two seasons have been horrific at best. So it just kind of feeds into the value of Stafford. At the end of the day, the voters got it right, and Stafford is the MVP. It's going to be very hard to keep him out of Canton, Ohio now. Obviously, he's coming back for another season, which should solidify his Hall of Fame candidacy. But in my opinion, when again you look at the body of work, you look at the stats, and then you look at the overall resume, having a Super Bowl title, having of course an MVP, having an All Pro, and now multiple Pro Bowls under your belt, it solidifies certain facts that have garnered a Hall of Fame consideration at the very least in the past. Moving forward for the Rams, now that Stafford is confirmed to come back, there is a sense of are they going to resort back to the F them picks era that got them the Super Bowl in 2021? Some of the subsequent moves they made were, of course, trading multiple first round picks to go and get players like Stafford and Jalen Ramsey. You also had some other big moves that they made in free agency before then, bringing guys like Robert Woods or Odell Beckham in the middle of that season, or a trade for Von Miller, or so on and so forth. You look at the current construction of the Rams now, and there's not a lot of holes in their roster. I would say that overall, the overall roster is a lot better than the one in 2021. 2021 just had bigger production from the big playmakers. And then you look at the Rams' two first round picks that they're entering into the NFL draft with. I think the big question mark is what do we do to improve Stafford's position? And these are the two moves that I think the Rams are going to make. I think that they're going to pick a receiver in the first round. I think that that receiver is going to be Mekhi Lemon from USC. I think the reason is because it allows the Rams to set up a scenario in which they're able to move on from Devontae Adams with a system that continues to produce as it used to with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. Lemon isn't that big, tall threat, but he's able to get open fairly quickly and can be used as a counter to what Puka Nacua can do against certain coverages. And then you look at the other first round pick, and I think this pick gets traded. I think this pick gets traded in a deal for Max Crosby. I think that the Rams realized the one thing that kept them out of the Super Bowl was the lack of a finish on the pass rush. That is something Crosby excels in. I think Chris Shula wants to get more exotic and more creative with his pass rush designs, but he does not want to bring the blitz. I think he wants to stay comfortable in zone coverage And the only way to do that is to only rush 4 or 5 players. By bringing in a guy like Crosby, he can design certain packages with certain players to allow certain versatile players like Byron Young or Josiah Stewart to either rush or drop into coverage, giving him multiple opportunities to create unique looks that mimic one another, creating confusion for a opposing quarterback. That's why I think that this MVP was so massive for the Rams, is because it reaffirmed Stafford's position in regards to his return, therefore giving the Rams a whole lot of time to go and make moves in order to make the most of whatever time Matthew Stafford has left in the NFL. The big thing to remember is this. Unlike in previous years where there was a drawn out process, even going back to last year where it ended in March 1st, Stafford recommitted to the Rams a week and a half after losing the NFC Championship game. That's a whole lot of time for everyone within that organization to get together and figure out a plan of how to successfully attack 2026, especially considering that that SoFi Stadium will be hosting the Super Bowl. This has been Brock Vera for the Los Angeles Rams Insider Podcast. We'll catch y'all next time. Take care.